And we're live on the new machine. My first question is going to be, how are the audio levels? But I'm going to have to wait for somebody to show up to answer that question. So we'll see who we get. Oh, so how is everybody today? Is anybody here yet? No, not yet. I might have created a monster with Delian. Asked him to fill an hour stream. He's probably not going to stop. Barbarossa, welcome. Good morning. My first question, I'm on my new machine, and on my new machine is a new streaming software. So the very first thing I have for you while I hydrate, and hey, Dazzly Cat, for both of you, the first question I have is, how are the audio levels? Can you hear the music? And is it too loud? Not loud enough? Relative to my voice, how are things sounding? Because I switched from the plain vanilla OBS to Streamlabs OBS, and I do not like, either I haven't figured everything out yet, or I do not like their mixer displays, because I can't see what's really going on. So, can you hear music in the background? First question. Hello, Mikaro. I sound a bit robot-y. Okay, that's interesting. I'm not sure what's doing that. Audio is like I'm on top of the mic. You do hear the music. I might just be overdriving the speakers. Let me see. Let me take the gain down a little on my microphone. Is that better? That's better. Okay, good. The music sound level is okay. It's not too loud. Still distorted. How about now? How about now? I can even hear it a little bit in my own ears. This is a different mixer board. How about now? How about now? How about now? That better? Could I try whispering? Is that better? Or was I just overdriving my microphone? How's that? If this doesn't work, I'll go back to the old... unfortunately, I don't know that I can force myself to talk this quietly. So let me try lowering that a little more and talking at a higher level. How's that? How do we sound now? Am I still distorting? I do have one other... Oh, you know what? I know what the problem is. Wait. I can fix this. I had this problem once before. Microphone. First of all, let's disable that one. And let us... Yes. now? Yeah, it's a little too quiet. Hold on, I might have dropped it a little too much. These are the problems of setting up new machines. Let's tweak this up a little bit. How about now? How about now? Is that better? The meters seem to say it should be. Is it still, am I still really quiet, or is it okay now? Seems a little better. Let's go a little bit more. I don't want to overdo it. How about now? I'm still softer than the music. Wow. That's strange. But I can do something about that too. How about now? Okay, that sounds better. Yeah, I think I like the, again, everything's new, so look at that. Now I'm bouncing into the red. That's never good. Oh, whoa, stop. Yeah, that's true. Okay. All right, time out. This is a one-shot thing. This is new machine woes. So, new audio hardware, new everything. So, okay, how do I sound now? Am I still popping? It looks like I'm still popping into the yellow on my meter. I don't know if that's causing any distortion. And is the music too loud or too quiet? I will wait for answers this time. Wow, big twitch lag. Great voice. Music is a little loud, really. You know what? Actually, I'm going to leave this where it is. That's going to sound loud again, but give me a second. How about now? How's the music now? Okay, no distortions. That's good. Can you still hear the music? Okay, now me and the music are even. Yeah, it looks like they are. Hold on. Oh, you know what? That's another one of these problems. Oh, that shouldn't be that bad. Okay, so I'll have to fix it here. I apologize for all this, but I also thank you guys for helping me get through all these setups. Isaac, how are we doing? Yeah, I'm working out the audio settings now, Isaac. Okay, how are we doing level-wise now, as far as music versus my voice? Music keeps climbing up and up. I do do not like these meters. Alright, how about now? This is what I get for switching to Streamlabs. Oh, you're very welcome, Coffee Quills, and welcome. Unchanged. That's interesting. Okay, it looks like I'm going to be going back to normal OBS after today. Because I understand that one and I know how the levels work and I can actually test things. The problem with Streamlabs is it shows me the mixer outputs, but it doesn't show me what you guys are actually hearing. So I have to play around blind with the filters. And I'm running out of room on the gain filter for on the desktop audio. How about now? Alright, it looks like, I mean, it looks like the desktop audio is there and quiet. Music is softer than voice. Good. Okay. And now I just killed it? Now I don't see any audio at all. What happened to... Alright, Pretzel's playing... Oh, there it is. Okay, it's back. Okay. Yeah, well, Pretzel is actually running as its own app. The one downside I have right now, for those of you who, yeah, it was just a dead time between songs, I think. For those of you who didn't hear or see on Writer Greg's stream, I got my new rig put together. The only problem I had was one of my two monitors was dead in the box. So right now I am still running on one monitor, which is why you're seeing Infinite Bob here right now, because I need to have this up while I'm playing with all the settings. Alright, it looks like everything is good, so we can put the stream back together. There we go. Now, how is everybody this morning? I'm feeling good. I am very happy with my new game, my new toy. Yeah, there will be new games. This will be the first time in years I can actually play relatively recent games. You're a little envious of the black background. That is Firefox's dark. Well, actually, what you were seeing before was Streamlabs, but yeah, all I did with Streamlabs, I'm still in the process of putting together a new look for the the whole stream, and I haven't put a wrapper of any sort around anything yet, so that's just the default black. And I may stick with that and just decorate it a little bit more. So we'll have to see. I have circle things on the side. Oh, you're gonna make me. I'm gonna go back here and look again. Oh, you mean these guys? The tokens, the badges, yeah. Yeah, new font for my name. A couple of widgets up here to hopefully attract some followers and or subs. I like I said, I may play around with a container and see, or I may just actually just tweak things around a little and just leave the black and go with a few other little widgets thrown in. So yeah, I use the token, or I originally, I'll tell you why I started with the token, but I ended up liking it, because the background on my logo was very, very close in color to the summer camp background, and if I just threw the logo up, it got, it was close enough that it looked like there was something wrong with the background, so I threw the token ring around it. But now I kind of like it that way. So, I mean, since I'm doing gaming, why not keep a token? So that's there. The Anvilite Streamer badge is there, of course. I got room to add some other stuff. If we do sprints, the timer will pop up right about here on your big, when we're on the big screen. And like I said, what I might do is shrink this down a little bit and leave a little room on the bottom for some more widgets, but that'll come in time. This is good enough for now. It's good enough to get going again. And speaking of getting going again, I haven't the slightest idea what exactly I want to be working on today. Again, let's put these things back. We'll do a quick recap on where we are in Synergasia, because that's always fun to start with. Writer Greg has been hard at work on maps. We can see he's got a whole bunch of other regions done. Alright, we don't know who they're going to belong to yet, but there they are. Region 8 looks like a cold one, or Region 9 rather. I want to jump in. Let's see if anybody new has jumped in. Aquilanus. Oh, that's somebody's article. Okay, so your articles are actually starting to pop in. What is thoughts on religions in the faceted realms? I wonder I don't know whose article that is. I'm going to take a look at that in a minute. I'm going to pop into the We Need You and see if anybody new has popped in since I last checked. We did have Lucifer Shot joined last night. I got that one caught in. Yeah, now that you're editors, and I think Writer Greg Kahuna has moved some things around to make it easier for some articles to show up in the recents. You guys have been definitely busy. Whose article is this? This is Robert Candyvoid. Okay. Oh, I guess the Faceted Realms is his name for his region. Okay. So yeah, the first religion prompts are starting to pop in. That's fun. We are 7 days away from the Kahuna and I are planning an event for September the 10th to do the region allocations. And for those of you who have ever watched on TV a sports draft, we're kind of taking some cues from that. We're hopefully gonna have a lot of fun with it. So that should be a fun stream. Grey Church. I saw the Grey Church article. I think there might just be a limit to the number of articles that pop up here, or I'm not sure how. Again, Kahuna has been kind of handling this stuff, so I don't know what's there. But I know if I go into the article list, there's the Grey Church, so it's there. In fact, we've got. We need to set up. We're going to need to set up some guidelines. You guys should be able to put tags on your articles now. By the way, yeah. In fact, some of you have started doing that. That's good. So we'll be able to tag by region, at least, if not by we're still trying to decide if we want to set up some. Or what kind of guidelines to set up for tags, just to make it easier to navigate, because this article list is going to get long. By the way, I was playing around with with calendar, with a lunar calendar option for people. The calendars are still strange. Oh, come on, boys, stay with me. Calendars are subordinate calendars are strange. Trying to get them to sync up with the main one so that the phases of the moons are actually where they belong. Here, let me show you what I was playing with. What I set up was, if somebody were to set up a calendar that was based on the 28-day moon, so you'd have 28-day months, and each month would be one full cycle of the moon. Where would it line up? And this one is lined up to start about 8 days after the normal calendar, so that whatever these people's first day of a month would be here, and then everything cycles through. This is the master calendar. All we set up in the master calendar was a 364-day cycle, or 360-day cycle rather, starting in UTC year 0. We put some random offsets on the moons just to get started. So we'll have. Oh, come on. So we'll have to be, as people come up with their ideas for calendars, I will work with them to figure out how to actually sync the calendar up with the master calendar, so that the moon phases make sense. We don't want it to be, on any given day, we don't want it to be a full moon in one region and a quarter moon in another. I mean, that just doesn't quite make sense. So what are we saying in the calendar? Dazzly Cat made a category for your region. Yeah, that's probably not a bad idea, but then we need to make sure that the categories are organized. And yeah, this is probably a good approach, to start putting them under here. What we might do is rename them to include the region numbers once they're assigned, obviously. So that you can either tag things by number or name. It'll be a little easier to find for other people to find their way around the map that way. But again, we haven't made a lot of those decisions. We're doing a lot of this stuff on the fly. So you can do that, though. You can create if you do create a category for your region, so put it under the region's master category. Prompts. I do have a second one just about ready to go. In fact, you know what? Let's work on that today just to see if I need anything else in it. I'll take some more ideas from you guys, and then once I'm done, I'll publish this one, so that those of you who have already worked on your religion article can work on your on the next one. All right, here's what we got so far. All right, this one again. The first one addressed, what role does religion play in your region. The second one, it deals with what role does magic play in your region. All right, and the main question, how does magic manifest in your region? Discuss the general nature and overall importance of magic in your portion of Synergasia. And my suggested topics are: is there active magic at all? Can the people of your world access and or manipulate it? How commonplace is magic? Does every household have a magic light source, or is it rare and therefore feared by the common person? If magic is commonplace, what sorts of items or spells would be the most commonplace? What purposes do they serve? Does the magic have a source? Isaac, this question was just for you. Does the magic have a source, or is it just here, there, and everywhere? If it does have a source, is that source controlled by somebody or something? Are there different types of magic? For example, oracle magic to define the future, or to see and hear things far away, magic that seems to create things out of thin air, magic that protects one from harm, magic that summons beings, illusions. Are there different classes of magic wielders? There's a lot of RPG kind of stuff in there. That first issue, though, about what types of magic, I've been looking into the rules of a game that Laura Bones suggested, called Lex Arcana, or Lex Arcana, I should say. It is the setting of the game is the Roman Empire around 400 AD, but Rome didn't fall. The Roman Empire is still going strong, and the reason it's going strong is because the emperor and his close inner circle have access to divination magic, which includes finding out about the past, finding out, seeing a little bit about the future, and also being able to spy on people with clairvoyance and clairaudience and that sort of thing. So that is the only magic in Lex Arcana. Oh, come on. That is the only magic in Lex Arcana, though. Alright, so there's no fireballs, there's no magic missiles, there's no major illusions or whatever. It's just divination. So that's a possibility that other people might not have thought of, so I threw it in there. And then the last piece here, if magical talent is acquired, how is that done? If it is innate in people, how is it awakened? How is it strengthened? So these are things to think about. Are there anything, can anybody else think of any other suggestions to throw in this list? Things that you may have that other people might not think of. Mikara Chandra, you're considering an 8x9x5 setup, 5 seasons, 9 weeks. I have a question though. What are you planning on doing with your seasons? I mean, you can overlay. You can certainly overlay whatever you want to call them. But we're, there's still going to be a warm time, a cold time, and transition times in between, and that's about it. But by all means, somebody could break that though into, the warm time could be planting and then harvesting, or I could see ways of breaking things into what you'd call seasons. But the climate, the general climate is global. Keep that in mind. So five seasons, 9 weeks per season, 8 days per week. Does that add up to 360, or is it a lunar style calendar? Isaac Tom is planning a lunar calendar. Okay. Probably by the smaller moon. Yeah. Now remember that a lunar calendar will have walk. It will, for lack of a better term, it will walk from year to year relative to the solar calendar. So, if your first day is, if we both start on day 1 of year 1, the lunar year will end sooner than the solar year. So that after a few years, a day of a month that was in springtime is now going to be in winter, and then it's going to be in fall, and then so forth. But that's what happens. Now, unless you want to deal with that too, with a leap month every once in a while, like the Hebrew calendar does. Every few years they throw in a 13th month just to kind of put things back on track. The Islamic calendar does not do that. That's another lunar calendar. So there's precedence to go either way. Did I see a Sir Lamsalot sneak in there? How's the new rig? The new rig is doing fine. Everybody give a big hand to Sir Lamsalot. He is my computer build buddy. He is the guy who put together. I think I did one thing physically myself, putting the machine together. He did all the rest. It's working beautifully. Wish I had the second monitor, but that will be here Saturday. So check in on my Sunday stream, and we'll get a chance to see how things work on 2 monitors. Jumping back here, is magic only usable by some people? Did I have that? No, I didn't quite cover that. So yeah, that's something to add. I guess you mean are only some people capable of learning or acquiring magic, so we can do that. Um, Let me jump back and see. Will we order them alphabetically or numerically? I assume you're talking about the regions. Don't know yet. Um, we'll see. We can ask. We can. Some of these things we might put up to group votes too. Um, let's see if warm zones, first plant and second harvest with fifth fallow. Yeah, I mean, yeah. There's ways to play 5 seasons, but keep in mind you got to fit your 5 seasons into the into the astronomical and climate realities of the whole world. Um, let's see, coffee's heading out. You're it's well into the night for you, so I'll probably catch you overnight on your stream, at least at the beginning. Um, let's see, phone typing. Yeah, season first planting, harvest, second planting. Yeah, that works perfectly. Good morning, Siobhan. I was going to at first. I was, um, I was wondering if I had just gotten on too late to catch your stream. I see you did a real early stream, or a few hours earlier than usual today. Hope everything went well. So as double rotation, we're talking about seasons then and planting. Hello, DM Stretch. How you doing? All right, so we're gonna stick in here a question on. I'm gonna tack it into this one. Can anyone learn to use magic, or is it? I also have a new keyboard that I'm still getting used to. You know what? No, I'm going to put this in its own question because there's a couple of different ways to look at it. Come on. Thank you. Can anyone learn to use, or is there some inborn trait, talent required if magic is innate? What should allow it to manifest? How does that sound? Can anyone learn to use magic, or is there some inborn trait or talent required? Or does it cost a lot to be trained? You know what? I'm going to break this up into into 2 questions again. If magic is learned, can anyone learn it? Is there some inborn trait or talent required? Does it cost a lot to be trained? If magic is innate, what hereditary conditions allow it to manifest? How does that sound? Oh, good question. Yeah. So, yeah. Uh, and that would be more for the innate side. Can trigger. And I'll throw a few examples in here. What else would be a good potential trigger? Maturity level. That'll do. Unless somebody can come up with some other interesting one to throw in there. Again, remember, you get, I'm asking you guys to help me write these things, especially the suggestions, because, there are individuals, what triggers do I have? Oh, you might be on audio only, huh? The suggested, the ones that I put up just as a starter list are trauma, phase of moon, maturity level. Seeing someone else use it, how about just being affected by someone else's magic? That one's a possibility. This. Well, it can be. We can go back and edit these. What I'm trying to do with these prompts, obviously, is, the first section, the section in quotes. If I preview this, for example, the piece at the top is the traditional summer camp prompt. Here's the question. Go. The suggested topics, what I'm trying to do is basically provide in one place the same purpose that that we had that Google Docs document for in summer camp, where everybody was throwing all their ideas and thoughts or whatever about all the different prompts into one big document. What I thought I'd do here is just use the article approach and put in the suggested topics. That way, everything you need to know is here in one place, and then the submission guidelines and this is another thing, by the way. Just I want to make sure that everybody understands this. Each one of these prompts will have one or more suggested templates. Unlike summer camp, again, we're not grading these things, and we don't have an automated system for tracking who's completed what, like summer camp did. But if I suggest, for example, for the magic, I suggest natural law is probably the best prompt. If that doesn't work for you because of whatever you're doing, then use whatever works for you. And I even go on to say here, and that's why it's suggested template parentheses. If you wish to go on to describe common magical items, you probably want to use the item prompt for the items rather than bury it all into one prompt. Some of these prompts may end up inviting you guys to create a handful of articles, and if you have the time and the inclination to do that, go for it. The other one, if magic has a specific source, again, I was thinking, Isaac, of your crystal. If it has a specific source, you might want to use location or even the building landmark template to describe, that source of magic. So you don't have to try to, again, unlike summer camp. All right, if natural law is not the best way to describe what you want to write about, then feel free to use any and all other templates as well. Feel free to set up multiple articles. You're creating your world. All right, the prompts that we're putting together here are literally prompts to get you to think about building out your world as completely as you wish to, and as completely as you can. These first couple of prompts are the overarching ones to just get the flavor of your region. We will start getting into much more specific ones. That might deal with what resources or what natural resources. Look at this. I'm still peeling the little plastic bits off pieces of my new hardware. Some of them will get more specific, a la summer camp prompts. The other thing to remember is summer camp has the advantage of having a few years of history behind it, and a avoidance of repeating prompts. So they're starting to get fairly specific and particular, whereas here everybody's starting from scratch, in a whole new region, in a whole new world. So we're all kind of in the same boat. So again, we're going to start. Yeah, are there costs to using magic? There is a mention in there about it being expensive. Or actually, I gotta say, does it cost a lot to be trained? That's also worth doing, though. Does it cost a lot to? You know what? No, we're going to put that one in as a separate one because there's more than just financial costs. Is there a cost associated with wielding magic? This could be financial, physical, emotional, mental, and I'm separating emotional and mental because you might not realize that you're slowly going insane because you're using magic, but it might not affect your emotions outwardly, but it might be driving you, like I said, driving you insane somewhere. I'm already giving you inspiration here. Well, that's the idea here is to get these are all, again, things, every one of us has come up with interesting ideas. Is the cost to the user physically draining? Yes, so there is physical in here. Are these costs transitory? Temporary. Let's not be too silly here. Obviously, a financial cost would be permanent. But yeah, if are you physically drained by using magic, but can you recover? Or does casting certain types of magic permanently drain stamina from you, or something? I think of the old D&D examples of casting resurrection. Casting resurrection costs the caster a constitution point. So you couldn't just resurrect your party members forever. Carefully keep part of the life inside, so the life from the plant remains in the medicine. I'm missing something. Oh, okay. I see. You're starting to work on low-level magic. Oh, that comes from the plants. That's cool. So if this looks good, I'm going to take the draft tag off this because it's been a week. And changes should already be saved, but so you guys now, if you look under the prompts, I'll get Kahuna to make sure this one shows up on the featured article list. But we should now have... I have way too many articles up here. But we now have prompt 2. So, I got that should clean that formatting thing up. Yep. Okay. So there we go. That'll carry us through till region creation, a region assignment. So yeah, haste ages the recipients as well. Yeah. All right, so there we got something good done already today. We got a new prompt in Synergasia. All right, so that should be, that's in prompts. I need to refresh this screen. And there it is, published, public, and work in progress. So that's all set. Oh yes, Dazzlycat. Yes, your Dazzlycat has been working on a tidal chart. Daz, after you're done with it, if you could pass that on to Kahuna and I'd like to take a look at it, because one of the questions, of course, your region, any one region can have a very good tidal chart, but in theory, over the whole world, the times of day obviously are going to be different for the different tides. So once you're done with it, I'd like to take a look at it and see if we can turn it into something that we can make more universal. I appreciate all of the early work that you're doing. So we'll see what we do. Any advice for starting a new world? Gift of Gabby. Haha, you have come to the right place. First of all, what we've actually been talking about here is a project that's only a couple of weeks old, and we have plenty of opportunity to have more people join us. We have created a world, and I'm going to pull up the map of the world. Let me get the world map up. We have created a world. We have divided that world into regions, and we are inviting individual authors, up to 25 of them rather. And if we get more, we'll deal with that. But up to 25 authors will each be assigned one of these regions according to their desires and needs. And we're all building a new little mini world from scratch, all on the same planet. If you want to get started on a new world, this might be an interesting exercise for you. If you sound all interested or want to take a look around and see what we're talking about, I will put in the chat the link to the world. Oh, actually, I need to change that link. Hold on. I need to fix that. Don't follow that link. I need to edit something real quick. I knew I forgot something. We had the Kahuna is Sage level in World Anvil, and because he is Sage level, he was able to get the world essentially whitelisted. So again, ignore that first link, but that link will work now. You'll notice Kahuna's name is not tacked on the end of the link anymore. Um, it's just the world, the slash W and the world name. That should work. Let's make sure that works. Yep, there it is. Good. So as I was saying, Gift of Gabby, if you want to experiment with that. If you want to start urban fantasy world, is this for? Are you doing this for writing or for creative writing or for game? I'll give you what advice I can. Creative writing, okay. Um, Urban fantasy, like modern world setting or alternative reality. Um, if you're doing alternative reality, then the first thing you want to think about is what makes it an alternative reality. Is it just a different timeline? Is there magic? Are the gods real? Is do they are there manifestations that we don't normally see in our real world? I always think personally that you need to start with that because those questions are like the really world defining ones. If you're talking about urban fantasy though in essentially our world, then those things are already done. They're a given. You can skip over that. Um, the next thing you want to focus on is the regional setting. All right, wait, you say urban fantasy. Um, think about defining the city. All right, and maybe its immediate surroundings. You don't have to plan a whole world. You don't have to plan a whole country. You might get there eventually, but you don't necessarily need them to start. All right. If you think about, are you writing about adults, children, somebody growing up in an urban setting, or because if you think about it, um, modern with a secret world. Okay, is that secret world very alternative then? College age characters. Okay, if you think about how you as a college, I don't know what age you are, and I don't. It doesn't matter. But if you think about what really defines the world to the typical college age person, all right, you've got your family and your family. You've got your circle of friends. You've got the places you go to regularly. There's a bigger world out there, but you probably don't care an awful lot about it. All right. Well, if your characters aren't going to care an awful lot about what's going on half a world away, then you don't need to worry about building what's going on half a world away. All right. Now, again, it depends on the story. I mean, somebody who is writing about college-age kids in the age of Vietnam, in the age of the Vietnam War, for example, in the United States, would probably have to at least acknowledge that there was a war going on the other side of the world, and there was a very real likelihood that the characters could end up in it because the U.S. had a draft, and as soon as you got out of college, you were eligible, and off you went. Um, if you were writing the same story um, 20 years ago, all right, when the draft was gone, then yeah, okay, there's still a war. There's still wars going on half a world away in the Middle East and or Afghanistan, but there's no draft. So if I'm not planning on joining the army, what's going on over there doesn't matter to me. All right, so you really want to put yourself in the mindset of your characters to decide, because it's important for you to decide how much of the world you need to build. All right, and try to limit yourself to focusing on that chunk of world that's going to appear in the writing that you're doing, and appear either as thoughts of the characters or as physical places or activities. If you're adding a secret magical world, then you are going to need to define against some of the rules of that world. Uh, what kind of magic? Well, obviously, how do you get there? But for that world itself, for that magical world, what kind of magic? Who's magical? Or do people become magical when they get there? Or is it just the natives that are magical? Is it just certain creatures? You mentioned a dragon. So the biggest advice though that I can have is don't think that you have to thoroughly build and design an entire planet. All right, if that's not going to be the setting for your writing. All right, focus on try to at least in your mind zero in on the physical zones that are going to matter, and then hash those out. All right, and you do want to build those out. I mean, if you're talking about a university, for example, you want to define the university. You want to build where are the different buildings on campus. All right, because you don't want to have, in chapter 1, you don't want to spend 5 minutes getting from your dorm to English class, and then in chapter 7 having it take you 25 minutes to get to the same class because it's all the way across the campus. All right, it's little things, little things like that, little inconsistencies like that are why you want to do world building at all. Yeah, there could be newscasts, Siobhan, you're right. But again, if it you don't necessarily have to build up a whole world around them if they're not going to be newscasts that change the mindset or events or activities of the characters. You can just make up little snippets, and you might want to record them or make notes of them, obviously, so that you don't do anything internally inconsistent. But I mean, world building serves two purposes. It builds it lets you define the environment, which will help shape your own thinking about what's going on in the world. But it also exists to eliminate the kind of inconsistencies that readers definitely pick up on and get turned off by. All right, so those are those are your two goals as a creative writer in world building, I think. Is to make sure that you understand the world in which your characters are going to function, and only the piece of the world that your characters are going to function in. Again, you don't have to define. If you're focusing on jumping in and out of this magical world, you don't care about the dynastic history of a kingdom or an empire that died 500 years ago, half a world away. All right, so you don't need to build that. Does that help? Hopefully that helps. Good. Okay. And if you have further questions like that, this stream or any of the many other streams like it that you can find throughout the day, courtesy of the Anvilite Streamer Core, and there's the link to our schedule. Feel free to jump in and out, ask your questions. Anybody and everybody that is streaming will be happy to help you out and answer questions. And if the people running the streams can't or can't help, then there will almost certainly be somebody else in chat who can. we are a very helpful community. I wonder how delayed the stream is. Yeah, it's I can't tell. It looks to me like it's running about 10 or 12 seconds, but I end up having I see it in two directions because it's got to go out to you and then come back to me. And I'm not sure if there's anything I can do to fix it. Can I type a letter? If I type a letter, there's a letter. I know I found a way to, and unfortunately I can't demonstrate it. I found a way if you're on a desktop running Twitch. I found a way that you can shorten the lag, or at least reset the lag down to a small amount of time. That seems to work very effectively. Unfortunately, the sequence of steps that you need to do to make it happen do not exist on a cell phone. Where's the new PC? Tillers, I'm on it. Pics or it didn't happen. No, it's happening. Here, you know how I can prove? You know how I can prove it? Here's how I can prove it. Just for giggles, I'm going to do something that I could not have done. Oh, by the way, there's my puppy. Everybody can see my puppy now. I'm about to do something that I absolutely could not have done. Why is this asking me for my Steam password? Do I have to do this every time I log in? Oh, that's going to be a pain in the neck. All right, so I'm not going to do that. Let me try it this way. Let me see if I can get through this way. Because I'm not giving everybody my password. How about that? Alright, so I'm not going to do that. I have to fix that for later, though. I have downloaded Flowscape and started playing with Flowscape, which is a ray tracing graphics program. Which, yeah, I'll need to click that remember my. I didn't last night. I keep forgetting that Steam kind of keeps control over anything you download through it. And Flowscape, $15 through Steam. Anybody who hasn't played with that, by the way, who's interested in any kind of quick and easy graphic arts, yes, that's my cat Fido. By the way, you met my dog Gracie a second ago. This is Fido, and that's my granddaughter. So that's actually a bunch of years old. She's 12 now. She would be very embarrassed by that photo. Yeah, no, I believe you don't need proof. Yeah, Tillers, you came in a little late. The only thing that is missing, one of my two monitors was dead in the box and is getting returned. Its replacement is already en route. It will be here on Saturday. So right now I'm still on a single monitor system. But other than that, everything is up and running, and so far it is running beautifully. So DM Stretch, oh cool. How what? For anybody who's interested, by the way, I'm going to be tacking my new equipment. How to reduce the lag. If you're on the desktop, let's see if I can walk you through this. If you click on the little gear settings icon that should be under my picture in the bottom right corner. If you click on that and then click Advanced, all right, one of the options under Advanced will be will first of all will let you look at the current video settings, and if you click on that, it'll put up a little pop-up. It'll show you what the lag to broadcaster and the lag back are right now. If you then toggle off and on the low latency button, whatever it's set for now, you want it to end up on low latency, but even if it's already there, if you toggle that on and off, it seems to like completely reset the latency, and I've seen it drop down to as little as a second by doing that with some people on some streams. Unfortunately, like I said, you can't do it on a phone, which is really the other thing I've seen. I think I've noticed. I'm about to believe that if you happen to catch a 30-second ad at the beginning of my stream, then that 30 seconds becomes part of your lag. It actually starts the stream, pauses the stream to give you the commercial, all right, and then restarts the stream at the end. Because I've found that I can't do any better than at least 30 seconds if I catch an ad at the beginning of somebody's stream. Of course, the solution to that is to subscribe so you don't get ads. But yeah, you will from time to time if you're following streamers that, well, you might have an ad blocker, but Twitch will try its best to put ads in front of you if you have not. If you've not. I guess I could do that. You could do that. You could drop them as an affiliate. I could disable some. But failing that, subscribers definitely do not ever get ads. So, and I think that's Twitch's way of enticing people to do subscriptions. You know, they get your money that way, but at least the creator also gets some of the money as well. So, okay. So what else are we going to do today? I was going to play around a little bit. I'm still kind of experimenting with the new box. But I can't think of anything I want to start. Without giving away passwords, and I can't do that. Like I said, I need a second monitor to do things like that. What was I working on before? eSongbird off to a real life meeting. Good luck. Yeah, DMU disabled your ads after becoming an affiliate. Or ad blocker doesn't block Twitch ads. Yeah, I guess it wouldn't. Alright, so we covered Synergasia. What was I working on in my world? What were the last things I was working on? That's a session report from a game. These are plots for a game. I was working on a few. I was working on a few other things. Oh, I know what I was working on. I was working on I was doing some character profiles. Oh, all right, folks. I'm going to take a very short break to deal with a puppy who is desperate to get outside. I will introduce you to... I didn't want to click that. I wanted to click that. I will introduce you to my little Be Right Back friend. who will advise you not to go anywhere. I will be back in a couple seconds. Until then, have fun, and hopefully the music won't blast you out. And we're back. So what do we think? Should I keep our dinosaur friend up there to keep an eye on you while I step away, or should I put the cat up there? You guys have to see it. I don't. So. All right, we got one vote for Dino Dude. Two, three, four for the dinosaur. Looks like it's going to be the dinosaur. Cool. Okay, let's see. What did I miss? Isaac. Trying to set up a calendar converter from Synagogia UTC to a hypothetical lunar calendar. I can give you a hand with that. The big trick is to just pick a starting point. And once you have the starting point, actually, once you have the starting point, the timelines might help to do that. So we'll have to see. I don't know. I'm not quite sure how that's going to interact as well. Because again, the biggest issue is the lunar year and the solar year are different lengths. So I'm not even sure what that does to the day counting or time counting right now. I also do know that calendars is still a work in progress. So anyway, like I said, I started to play with some with Artbreeder a couple days ago, and these are a couple of the key NPCs that live in the inn. Or that actually, well, the two on the ends run the inn, and this is a fun example of Artbreeder because they started with live portraits, but I was able to, after I tweaked them around a little bit, I was able to kind of posterize them a little bit to make them look a little more drawn and a little, a little more drawn / painted and a little less photographed. Elabeth in the middle is the Artbreeder child of Theodric and Branwen on the ends. So if you see resemblances between them, it's because Artbreeder is real good at that. But I've been setting those up, and I've also been setting up, I'd have to go to a folder, I think, to find them, but I've been setting up some of my nymphs. Let's see if we can find what we got. Where did I put them? Gotta remember where I put them. There we go. Yeah, we'll open that in photos. So we have Dryad 1, Dryad 2. We saw them. And then we have a couple, we have a Naiad. That is Definiya the Naiad. And most of these were literally just worked off all the same picture and just played around with a lot of the variants because I didn't mind them looking an awful lot alike. There's a little bit of aging in some of them, a few other odds and ends, but again, they were all kind of posterized too, so that they look, they don't look like photos. Artbreeder is definitely a fun rabbit hole to fall down. Let's see, Isaac, you're probably overthinking the math of it. Might be a multi-step process. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the biggest issue is just deciding. First of all, are you going to live with the fact that the years are different and just let it float like the Islamic calendar does, or are you going to try to correct for it periodically by adding a leap month or some leap days or what, or things along that line? That's the big question you need to ask yourself. And once you've done that, then it's just pretty straightforward math. And again, you pick once we know what the starting point is, you'll know what's going on. The good news is you'll always know what phase if you tie it tightly to one of the moons, to the 28-day moon, for example. You won't have any problem figuring out phases of the moon within a month for that moon. It's the other one that comes into play that where you have to actually sync up with a with a bigger calendar or with the master calendar to keep track of things. Somebody's coming on stream. Oh, Kahuna is coming on. Of course, yes, Kahuna Quiet is beginning. Okay. I will be jumping over there when I'm done. That's not necessarily who I'm going to raid, though. I think Hefe is up today. So, this is fun, killing time, showing off. What is everybody else working on besides a few Synergasia things that we've been talking about? How are other people's other worlds coming? I think I would like to get a little bit done today. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go through. I'm going to do a quick walkthrough the adventure that I'm working on for my group, because that's what I'm supposed to be doing on Thursdays anyway. All right. Adding races to your world, Aslicat, okay? The adventure that I'm working on now for my playtesters is this thing called An Errand for Amalthea. And I've been experimenting for a while with how to use the plot templates and how to interact things with, with the World Anvil elements. So let me just walk through very quickly what I've got and what I've done. I'm going to start with the master plot. All right, that describes the whole adventure arc. All right, and we see the objective. Actually, that's not even right. Where's my edit article? Why isn't the edit article showing up? Oh, because this one still uses the old ones. The objective of this whole thing is to journey to the Lizard Village and the Village Fens. Return with mission for make some enemies and allies along the way. That's the actual objective. It is, for lack of anything better, a discovery mission, because they're still kind of the parties are still kind of learning how things work in the Feywood, which is where this takes place. When I originally designed this, it was not a master plot or a master campaign thing, but that is not true anymore. This is actually the introduction to an actual multi-adventure campaign theme that I have in mind, so we'll put it in there. They might be meeting some enemies and allies, but I don't think any of them are going to be critically important, so it's still henchmen. They'll be dealing with grunts along the way. What do we expect? The adventure continues the introductory theme of other level 1 adventures. This one brings the party off the trade road and into the Feywood itself and into the Lizard Fens, where things aren't the same as they are in the rest of the forest. The players will learn about more residents of the Feywoods, the boggards and the lizard folk, and will encounter some of the swamp creatures in the Lizard Fens. They should also learn that not every bad creature in the forest or in the swamp is actually bad. Some are working for good or for peace. And we'll see how that... I have one of the people on stream right now, Sir Lamsalot. Yeah, I see him. Sir, should you bounce? Um, is one of my most conscientious playtesters, and he has not experienced any of this yet. He's asking if he should get out of the stream. And unfortunately, yes, I think the answer is yeah, you probably should, Ben. Thank you again in front of everyone here. Thank you for your help yesterday. I am in your debt, as is everybody else in that follows me on Twitch. And I'll get in touch with you when I'm done here and let you know how everything ended up going, and give you a little more detail on how I picked up after you left, after you had a bail yesterday. So thank you for coming, and I'll see you. And now I will move on. So doesn't everybody wish they had players like that? Of course, now he's actually still sitting there lurking, right? Daz, you got to go off for shopping. Okay, we'll see you. All right, so anyway, the party, first of all, the party finally meets the wife of the innkeeper and the hunter who's responsible for putting meat on the inn's tables. So what I'm doing here is laying out, I'm not going to read it all in detail. This is basically a layout of the overall adventure plot. And then I start describing. I see I didn't finish this. Oh yes, I did. I just don't have breaks. See, this is why we do these things on screen. Where's my scene list? Oh, that's going to be down at the bottom. That's going to be one of these. I am missing the brakes. That's better. So I've kind of laid out 5 scenes. The first scene is traveling through the forest and into the marshes, where they early on encounter an alligator. Continuing through the swamp, they're accosted by a boggart scouting party, which may give them information they need for the rest of the encounter if they have the chance. That depends on how fast and in what manner the party decides to deal with the boggart scouts. But that will be a combat encounter. Scene 3, the party comes across a renegade boggart swamp seer, a spellcaster that is trying to make it to the lizard folk village. Alright, so this boggart swamp seer is... the boggarts themselves are basically nasty. And don't like anybody or anything in their territory that isn't one of them. But the swamp seer is basically one of their elders, and doesn't want to necessarily be antagonistic to every other creature in the forest or swamp around them. And he's actually trying to make peace with the lizard folk by returning to them a relic that was discovered in some ruins which the boggarts now occupy, but thousands of years ago was a lizard folk civilization site. Alright, so he's actually trying to do a good thing. Now, after the camp party has encountered a boggart scouting party, and they were violent, they're going to see this other boggart going through the woods, and they may just simply attack it. They may try to avoid it. It will... the swamp seer, first of all, is higher level in the party and perfectly capable of handling himself. He won't wipe out the party. He could be beaten by the party, but his intent is not to wipe out the party. His intent will basically be to try to get the party to stop attacking. And assuming that happens, or assuming everybody that started this scene is still alive at this point, the expectation would actually be that that this guy tags along with the party, because they're all going to the same village. All right, and the boggart actually knows where it is. The party doesn't. The party is kind of looking for it blind. All right, so they can actually get help from the swamp seer, and make some sort of an ally, which might matter in the future. I haven't decided yet. But the one thing that making friends with the swamp seer will definitely do is make him an enemy, a real enemy of the boggarts themselves, because as you can see in scene 4, as the party is on their way back from the village, they will encounter another party of boggarts in the woods, but this isn't a scout party, it's a war party. Again, a higher level, nastier encounter. They're actually out looking for the swamp seer, because as far as the village is concerned, the swamp seer stole something of theirs to bring to the lizard folk, who are their enemy, or perceived enemy. So they will definitely not be happy with the party, especially if the swamp seer is with them, which might be the case. But so that's there. I need to fix. See, I can see this changed. It's changed a lot as I was working on it. The party comes across. Village. Now, by the way, these aren't scenes in the traditional sense. I know writer Greg would have a fit right now, because these scenes don't limit themselves to one physical location. What these scenes do match out to, though, is encounters in the adventure arc for the game players. So there might be some moving around or adjusting, but each one of them carries a specific encounter with it. Again, scene 1 introduces the whole thing, and we throw in the alligator. Scene 2 is the scouting party. Scene 3 is the renegade. Actually, I should probably do it this way, and I think I did. Scene 4, the party makes it to the lizard folk village and deals with the chieftain. 2 periods is no good. Scene 5. Now that one won't be action, but it'll be dialogue and role playing. Party returning home encounters the Boggart War Party. This optional scene. I need the party to amass a certain amount of experience in order to hit my progression targets. So this optional scene is in the event they decide to completely ignore the swamp seer, which they could do. I'm not going to give them credit for avoiding the swamp seer. I will give them credit experience-wise for either fighting with it or diplomatically encountering it and making friends, but not for just hiding. If they do just hide, then they're going to get thrown another alligator. But again, those of you who were tracking me during summer camp will know that a sleeper jaw is a special kind of alligator that spits a poison that will essentially stupefy anybody who knows the Harry Potter stupefy curse. But this poison will essentially stupefy whoever it hits. which makes them a lot easier for the alligator to deal with. So it's a higher level alligator, but they've already faced an alligator at this point, so they're going to say, oh, another one of these, and then boom. So that could be fun. And then the whole adventure wraps up with them making it back at the inn, and is introduced to Amalthea the Dryad. Amalthea the Dryad is an important character. She is one of the few greater dryads in the Feywood, and is kind of the unofficial head Fey of the Feywood. In my world, the dryads, the nymphs, were created. They were the first creatures created after the common animals and plants. They were the first intelligent creatures created. When they were created, they were given an immortal lifespan. However, they can be killed, and they do not reproduce. So over 20,000 years, for most of that 20,000 years, there were, unless somebody had a horrible accident, the nymphs all live forever. When I say the nymphs, I mean not only the greater dryads and naiads, but I have got lesser dryads and naiads and pixies and sprites and various other flavors of happy nymphs. In the God War that happened 2,000 years ago, a lot of them were killed. So there are fewer Fae now than there were then. And now, as humanity and other races are starting to push their way into the Feywood, the attrition among the Fae is starting to rise again, and that's what this whole information thing has to deal with. The party will find out at this point that what's going on is there is a poaching ring being run out of a town at the edge of the Feywood, and the lizard folk, because they had dealings with some of the poachers, have some information, and the chieftain is not happy with this, because the chieftain wants to be nice with his Feywood neighbors too. Although there are some people in the lizard folk village that are making out by dealing with the poachers. So he's not happy with all that, but he's trying to help on his end. And again, this adventure basically introduces them to this whole concept of the poaching ring and the whole issue of the Fae, of the problems of the Fae. And my second level adventure arc will be several adventures that have them journeying to that village, trying to investigate what's going on. Is there a poaching ring? How does it work? Who's in charge? And by the way, all of these things are courtesy of summer camp. Summer camp made me think of the poaching ring. Summer camp made me actually, I know who the ringleader of the poaching ring is. I wrote a summer camp article about him. But the people, even the people in the village, don't really know. I mean, obviously the ones in the poaching ring know, but so I'm planning a 3 adventure series that will culminate in them. Hopefully, again, if everything works right, that will culminate in them breaking the poaching ring. So, see, summer camp can be useful. None of this was in my head before summer camp started. Alright, so I made that tweak. I think this should be right now. The themes, again, the Renegade Swamp Seeker isn't really a threat to the party or even the world around. In fact, he's trying to improve relations, so that's one thing. What I'm trying to focus on here and trying to teach them, because it'll matter forever in Cartyrion, is there are good and bad in every race or species of intelligent creatures on Cartyrion. Allies can be found in the least expected places. All right, so yeah, there's a little noble moral going on there, but it's also intended to set the flavor for things that they'll be doing forever in Cartyrion. Now here is something that annoys me to no end. I have to maybe see if I can deal with this. But these subplots are there because I've connected the subplots to the main plot. But I don't know that I get a choice on what order they're in. So if you notice, they're 1, 2, 4, 5, 3, and then 4B. And they're not even all right. So I'm going to need to fix some titles and adjust some titles. In fact, let's do this. Optional scene. Let's call it 4B. Optional, just so it looks a little better. The other thing I'm going to do, because I can, is put a little formatting on this so it's easier to see. So anyway, this is what I'm using the master plot article for, is to kind of lay out. Oh, I love when it does that too. It only highlighted one of them. I'm going to have to go in here. Sometimes there's some glitches with the autosave versus manual save. But if I hard save that and come back over here, they're still not all highlighting. Why not? I have found sometimes when you get weird formatting issues like this, just forcing an update sometimes fixes things. I don't know why. I should know why. Still not there, so let's do this. Because sometimes that does it too, and again, there's no good reason for it. Still not bolding those. Or is it? Maybe it is and I'm just not seeing it. You know what? I think it is, but I'm just not seeing it. That's a bad choice of font then. That's my problem. So anyway, that's my overplot. And then if I look at what we do for the underplots, the underplots are where I start getting into actually doing the stuff that I'll be working from when I'm playing or when I'm DMing. I'm going to do this in preview mode for a reason and not show the full view. Because what I'm focusing on here, especially at the top, instead of just a summary of what's going on, I use the vignette section, or that first section, as the actual script and instructions that I as a DM will be using when I run this encounter. Alright, so the stuff in quote blocks is stuff that I will read to the players. And the little gaps in between are the places where I either give them a chance to interact, or a few minutes to just stop and think about what they heard and absorb it, or eventually to actually get into a fight. This one over here is actually, and when there is a combat involved, what I will include in here is notes about how to run the combat from the adversary point of view. Barbarossa has a question. Any tips for streaming? Start and learn on the fly. And that's basically the best tip I can give. I mean, you will need to get some basic streaming software. OBS or Streamlabs OBS is pretty easy to set up and use. There's two versions of OBS. First of all, you're going to hear OBS a lot, and it does help to know which one people are talking about. OBS by itself is an open source, available free product that handles both recording and streaming. Actually, they both do, but it handles both recording and streaming. It does have automatic connections into Twitch to make that all nice and easy. But it gives you the ability to set up what they call scenes, which is well, you know what? I can show you real quick. All right, this is OBS. This is Streamlabs OBS. I'll explain that. Streamlabs is a company that took the plain vanilla OBS, and it is open source code, and they customized it, and they added a few extra bells and whistles, focusing mostly on streamers as opposed to YouTube recorders, although it still does do recording. And the way it works is basically you set up scenes are what appears on the screen. All right, so right now I have my live on Twitch scene running, which is the one that shows you my whole desktop. And if you see all these sources, these are all of the things that go onto that scene. So walking through them real quick. All right, hiding over here, there's a timer. If I were to start a prompt or a sprint, for example, all right, you'll see that I have a timer set up that pops up here, and that's supposed to be centered, but it's not. So I'll have to look into that. The logo text is my dinosaur Bob. I have a sub goal widget. I have a follower goal widget. If anybody did follow or sub me or whatever, the little I'm sure you've seen them on other streams, but the little walking zombie will pop up here with an alert saying, "Hey, somebody did something good." There's a couple of audio sources. This desktop audio quiet is the music that you're hearing in the background, with a gain filter on it to make sure it's quieter than when I'm not on and talking. This is my headset mic. That is the Streamer Core logo. That is my logo. That is my webcam. And then the primary monitor is my whole desktop. So you set all of these things up, but you set up different ones for different things. So just to show you real quickly, again, I have 3 scenes set up right now. I have my starting screen, my Be Right Back screen. I'm going to pop through them real quick. I can't talk. No, I do not have the Prime package. This is the free cheapy version. Now there are other add-ons that you can get. First of all, you can get the Prime package, which gives you more add-ons. But there's a lot of other free little add-ons and things that you'll want to do. So basically, you need to experiment with this to find the look you want. Play around with the different widgets and gizmos and gimmicks and things. Like I said, DM Stretch says the Prime is expensive. I didn't even look at it, to be perfectly honest. Now you can buy, you can find some free, but you can also buy for varying amounts of money streaming packages, which consist of overlays. If you watch Writer Greg, for example, all those fancy borders around things and the little mystical, magical things that pop up when he starts and stops and does things like that. That stuff is all. You can buy kits that give you all of those bits and pieces. I may actually look at. There's one in particular I was looking at that I can get for free. It's got some static images that I might be playing with, but I still haven't decided entirely what I'm going to do with my whole stream look. It's probably not going to get much different than this. The only thing I might change um, is, and I can change it on the fly now to show you. I might shrink the screen a little bit and make use of the real estate around the edges to play games with a few other interactive things for you guys to play with or see. Because that's what Twitch is all about. Twitch is all about interacting with your audience. Now, there's different ways to interact. You can interact by providing services like sprints and showcases. You can interact by having anybody who watches Tillers. You can play the little catch the star game that goes on the bottom of his screen. Danny Adventures, whenever she runs sprints, has the kitten races that are going on. WD Michael has the slow walk, the slow bro walk thing going on. So there's lots of different games and gizmos and widgets that you can play with to make your stream your own. But that's you have to play with it. You have to experiment with it and see what people like. You have a lot of different formats and formulas that you're seeing in the Anvilite Streamer Core. So pick something that's close to what you think you want to do, and then make it your own. That's my best advice, I think, for starting to stream. Do not expect 1,000 people to show up at your streams. Do not be surprised if it's only one or two at first. It takes time. Summer camp was a very special situation for a lot of us streamers. Everybody got so caught up in the streaming hype around summer camp that a number of us went from 0 to affiliate in like a week or two. I will tell you that outside of a special condition like this, that's completely unheard of. All right, there are for every one of us there are 10,000 streamers that have been streaming for 2 years that haven't made affiliate yet. All right, don't let that discourage you. Basically, you focus on the followers you have, and don't get discouraged. That's my best advice, I think, for starting the stream. So if anybody else wants to add anything, we have a number of other people in here that have gone through a similar. I mean, I didn't start streaming. My first stream was on July 2nd, so it was the day after summer camp started. And I'm still learning. I'm still experimenting with look and style. Writer Greg has gone a lot farther. He spent a lot more time thinking about what he wants his Twitch brand to look like. So there's others that really don't care. I mean, they're just doing it for as a community fun thing. So. DM, it was a shock how the viewership dropped. Yeah, it's because we're not all pushing on the same prompts or whatever. I expect we're going to get a big boost, if not in November, then during December in World Ember. I expect that the things are going to pick up again. So, we'll see. Barbarossa, you have the plan to talk about DMing, game mastery, as well as creative writing and game building. Yeah, well, that kind of covers them all. So the other thing that's going to be an interesting challenge is finding a good slot. I mean, one of the reasons I think right now that all of us are seeing a drop in viewership is because we're either streaming at times when everybody is asleep or at work, or four of us are streaming at the same time. All right, and I don't think of it as a competition. I mean, yes, if there's three other people streaming, and the viewership is spread across the three, there's not a competition going on there. All right, none of us are really competing against each other. None of us. This is something else. I mean, in the short term, the affiliate is nice. It's fun. It gives you things to play with, like channel points. I can tell you, you're not going to make a lot of money as an affiliate, at least not with the Anvilite Streamer Core. I think I had a really good July again because everybody was all hyped up, and Lorraine was throwing subs all over the place. But even with all that, I think I made $40. In August, I made 7. All right, so I'm not going to stop working because my Twitch revenue is helping me. So that's not what it's all about. If that's what it's all about, you got a long slog in front of you. And the next step, going from affiliate to partner, none of us are even remotely thinking about that. Your process to help people who are new to the game and think they have to be like Matt Mercer or Requisite. Yeah. Yeah, that is a big problem in our game, in our game world. The people who think it's two sides actually. You have the DMs who think they have to be like Matt Mercer, and then you have the new players who think that their DM is going to be like Matt Mercer. And when the game isn't like Critical Role, they get discouraged. Most people look at Critical Role and think of it as, oh, these guys are playing Dungeons and Dragons. Critical Role is scripted. All right. Yes, they're playing a game. Yes, they do roll dice. But they also get together in between sessions and pre-plan what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. All right. And that helps them all keep focused. It helps them all, do a lot of. It helps the stream have better production quality. All right, there might still be some random elements that happen live, that they have to react to, but it's not like a real game, and people don't realize that, and new players especially don't know any better, and they look at Critical Role and think that's what my D&D experience is going to be like, and they will be dead wrong. Let's see, what else do we have here? You're not hoping to be an affiliate at all. Good. All right, then. Not that you won't become one eventually, but it's again, don't if that's not one of your goals, then you won't be disappointed. So, DM, you have not been paid yet, as you've not gone over the 100. Yeah. I don't know that I have either. I'm sure this money is still sitting in an account somewhere. But to be perfectly honest, if they use that if they use that money to pay down my subs for other people, I'll be happy. I know Patreon does that. If you have a Patreon and you have people paying you monthly, and you're patronizing somebody else, Patreon runs your money like an account, so they'll take they don't keep hitting your bank account. They'll draw down your income before they hit your bank. Yeah, I mean, they can't take it away from you, but they can limit the number of microtransactions they're willing to pay for. DM. So that's basically what that's about. I mean, they don't want. If you think about it, if they were sending out $6 checks to everybody that's got 3 subscribers and $1.50 worth of ad revenue in a month, their bank costs would skyrocket. because those transfers take, they cost somebody something. So, and with that discussion, we have come to 12 o'clock. We have come to the end of the stream. It is time to see who exactly we are. Okay. Ben never left completely, but he did mute the audio. So, so I should probably take this off the screen. Who is on? Toblin is on. Is there anybody else on? I thought Thursdays was usually Hefe Day, but I could be wrong. Toblin is a good raid candidate as well, though. And Toblin it shall be. Delian is still on, trying to conquer all of Europe from Estonia. If anybody is interested. Anybody who's interested in European history, by the way, I mean, not that this game is 100% historically accurate, but Delian is playing a game called Crusader Kings 3, which takes place around the year 1000, give or take 100 years or so, or eventually more. I mean, it goes through time beyond that. But it starts out just pre-William the Conqueror. And they do a pretty good historical representation of what Europe looked like at the time as far as countries and ethnicities and earldoms and chiefdoms and this and that. And you start out as a leader in a small region, and you try to take over the world. Which of course is the objective to every game, but they deal with, it won't be you, because the game spans hundreds of years, so it's not you, it's your dynasty that you're trying to preserve. So it deals with it's a very complex game as far as relationships and things that can happen, to you, and things that you can do to other people. Anybody who's interested in history, I think, would be fascinated by just some of the things they do. Again, it's not perfect. It's not perfect historical reenactments, but I think it's a pretty awesome alternative history game. Let's call it that. With a lot of various interesting facets. So I'm going to raid Toblin, because Toblin is actually doing world building. But if anybody wants to just chill and watch Delian play games, or chill even more and chat with Kahuna, you're welcome to do that. I would suggest you stick with the raid before you go and get my channel points. And then once you say hi to wherever it is you're going, then you can jump off to somebody else. By the way, one of the other things I still need to do, if you noticed when I was looking at my screens, I need a closeout, an outro screen, with some credits and odds and ends on it. So that's something I'll be working on shortly. Raid CD10 Toblin. I thank everybody for coming. I thank everybody for putting up with my babbling and ranting for 2 hours. Hope to see everybody on Sunday. I will be mapping on Sunday, because I can be now. So anybody interested in maps for world building purposes, that'll be what I'm doing on Sunday morning. And until then, everybody have a good day and have a good weekend. And again, thanks you all once more, and let's get the raid going. It would help if I spelled his name right. Let's try that again. There we go.